Right, that's the best I've got. Okay.
Recording.
Hello, and welcome to the Cat Try Chat number 4? 5?
4?
4. 4.
4?
Oh, I don't know, it feels a lot longer. We're not live, unfortunately, because somebody's going on a date night.
Got a hot new date.
Apparently that's what you do when you're in a couple, date nights. So we have pre-recorded this. Hopefully you'll notice the difference that it's been pre-recorded means that we can edit it and hopefully keep it to half an hour, maybe. But I don't know if it's going to be as entertaining because I do like your comments when you put them in below, but we haven't got a below, but
you can still comment.
You can still comment.
Still comment
because we're create a watch party, and then you can put your comments in below, and I will answer all of your questions. Because today we are going to cover 2 subjects: New Forest Triathlon, which is not this weekend but next weekend, and we're going to talk about swimming and some drills and techniques you can do in the pool to make your open water swimming better, because certainly after my race at the weekend I realised I don't use my legs when I swim open water swimming, and my kick is probably the only good thing about my stroke, so that's what I need to work on is the pool. So let me just get my little bit of paper to make sure we cover everything because we really prepare well.
That was official, wasn't it? Official documents.
So we always start with, what have you been up to?
So, me.
Yeah, what have you been up to?
I've been running. I've been slowly building up my running volume, and essentially it's split down the middle. So my speed-ish work that I can do is done on an anti-gravity treadmill.
Excuse the dog.
Just bought the dog.
The dog's gone.
Does that mean we should move on?
Yeah, move on.
Right, Tom's been running, hooray!
I've been running on various different treadmills to make sure that I can get the best out of my body whilst I'm still a little bit recovering. So rehab work.
Lovely.
But that's it for me this week.
I wish I could have done a buddy then, but
yeah,
probably been a bit rude, wouldn't it?
Well, that's a bit awkward.
Hang on a minute, we haven't heard about what you've been up to.
What have you been doing?
I've been in Nottingham at the weekend. Did my first elite level middle distance event. So came fifth.
That's
I'm really
pretty
pleased
good
with.
going.
Didn't have the best run in the world, sadly. I think I left my legs in Marbella a couple of weeks ago. But no, pretty good result. Really chuffed with that.
What's it like being on an elite start line? So they want to look at you and they parade you down?
No, they didn't parade. I think it was a bit of a low. I think elite level was quite probably a too nice a name for it, if I'm honest.
Oh.
Because it was just an early wave. We went in at 6:10, and everyone else got in at 6:20.
But you have to be invited into that way.
Yeah, you have
can't
to
just rock
do.
up and go, oh hi, I think I'm going to be an elite today.
Yeah, Miss Lee's could be in that one. Oh, you have to do a time, so you have to be able to go under 4 hours 30 minutes for the elite start, which I did in Marbella, so that was part of the reason why I got into it. But no, it was a really good achievement. It's a completely different style of racing, which I noticed more in this one because it meant that the swim was a little bit more aggressive. So when the gun went, everyone went, and I'm not used to that sort of such an aggressive start. And I wasn't really sure about my position. So when I came out the water, in my head, I was, if I was in the top 15, I've done really well. Actually, I was a lot higher up than that. So actually, I spent most of the night trying to chase people and didn't find anyone. So I was literally on my own for a solid 40, 50 kilometers before I actually found another rider, which I've never been in a race like that. And I've never been in a race where it felt like the whole way around I was on the wrong course because I didn't have anyone around me. So it was a very interesting. Yeah,
what was the support like?
It was pretty quiet, actually. It was pretty quiet. So once you're out on the bike course, I didn't really see anyone apart from the marshals at the corners until we came back into transition, basically.
I've got a good question.
Oh, go.
Fifth in an elite elite field, in the pro field,
yes,
or age group winner, what would you take?
I like the challenge of having people to chase a bit more. I like being out of my depth. I think that's the sense of achievement I get, is knowing that I've pushed myself. And there's always another level to push to. So I think actually out of the 2 races I did in Marbella, where I was age group winner, that felt great from start to finish. I think I just had a better day out there. But actually, I think as a race, I preferred outlaw because it always felt like I was out of my depth and I was having to push myself that little bit more to find that extra
nice.
level.
So you like being a little fish in a big pond?
I like being a little fish in a big pond. Yeah, quite like that.
Cool.
What have you been up to?
What have you been?
I'm gonna be a buddy right now.
The dog is down here actually.
Yeah.
I've been doing all the fun stuff of event organising. So it's the going and choose the trophies, the t-shirt design, which I had helpful input from these two about the t-shirt design. So if you don't like the New Forest Triathlon Finishers t-shirt, it's their fault. The t-shirt designer was a bit unhappy because I went, oh yeah, you know that t-shirt design, actually, can we scrap it? I want a whole new idea. So I've done all the fun bits of event organising, and then a few of the stressful bits, like last minute things that you get thrown and you think, ooh, but it all gets wiped out in the end. And I did a race at the weekend too.
Ooh, nice.
I did Eton Dawning, and it was draft legal, and obviously everybody knows my tale of woe of being injured for so long.
Any scars, scabs?
No, I didn't fall off. No. And my scabs healed on my knee. And it was draft legal, so I went in thinking, oh, I'm not going to be very good, so I just won't bother doing it. I think you went, well, no, you went good, you might as well do it. Now. So I did, and I thought, oh, I'm going to practice loads of different things, because when I've raced there before, I've made loads of different mistakes. And I thought, you rarely get the opportunity to go and do a race and practice stuff. So I had the whale of a time, absolutely the best fun I could ever have. The swim was absolute carnage all the way around. Washing machines and arms going everywhere, and where the bike was draft legal, it was so much fun. Nice little pack of 8, one bossy girl organising everyone around. Don't know who that would have been. And then the run was just hideous, but 2 bits out of the 3 went back.
Yeah, that's all right.
But yeah, it was really fun. So
part of the journey, isn't it?
Good, yeah.
Sat on a really good talk actually talking about the journey. See my Instagram story
oh
yesterday?
yeah, wasn't it something about kids going to Disneyland?
Yeah.
Quite a nice little touch, that.
Yeah.
Looking out the window, enjoying the views.
To be
Should we do
fair,
the story?
I
feel like we've just kind of
Yeah.
oh yeah, that story. Had our own little inside joke.
Time.
So 2 kids on their way to Disneyland in the back of a car. Obviously 2 parents driving. Just 2 kids in their own, that'd be a bit weird, wouldn't it? So they're both in the back of the car. One of them is literally pestering his parents the whole way there, going, "We there yet? Are we there yet? I want to be there. I want to be at Disneyland. Are we there yet?" And just very, very anxious about getting to Disneyland. Whereas the other kid sat in the back of the car is heads out the window and he's taking it all in, like the blue skies and the green fields and the animals and nice cars on the motorway maybe, and just sort of taking it all in as he goes. And then when they finally get to Disneyland, it's shut.
Oh man.
Which kid do you think had the better time? So one kid's there going to be really disappointed because his end result didn't happen.
Yeah.
Whereas the other kid on the journey had these wonderful experiences. So if we change the destination, Disneyland, to being your event, actually if you spend the whole time expecting a good result of that event and it doesn't happen, you're just frustrated and annoyed, and quite deflated because of it. Whereas, if you're focused on the journey getting there, think about your training, think about your stepping stone goals, all that kind of stuff, you have a much better overall experience. I think that's a worthwhile story to put in there.
Yeah, it's a nice story, but if you've been training for something and then like Ironman, and you miss your cut-off times or you have a hideous race, quite hard to get over, I think.
It's really hard, but I think that's why you have multiple steppings. They don't make the Ironman or whatever it is the only focus. You can have like a half Ironman en route, or you can have, the New Forest middle distance or something.
Yeah. Don't waste the training.
Don't waste the training. So you've had these little stepping stones. Even if the first stepping stone doesn't go quite right, maybe you've got another one. Maybe you've got a half marathon book. Maybe you've got a marathon book. So you're trying to fill your target with all these little things. And even if they haven't gone quite right, maybe there's training sessions you've done that have gone particularly well. So just because that one day didn't go right doesn't mean the whole 6 months of your life have been wasted, which is quite how most people sort of perceive it almost.
So I guess you could treat it a bit like a relationship. If it didn't go well, how'd you get over it? Book another one in.
Book another relationship in.
Yeah.
That's the first time I've ever heard that analogy.
Well, to get over a relationship, just get a new one, don't you?
Just get a new one.
So if your race goes bad, just book another one.
Just book another race. It's easy.
Right. Yeah. Cool. Right. So let's talk about really quickly New Forest Triathlon, 2nd of June. There is a race briefing online, and there is the paper reading boring format, or if you like me and prefer watching the telly rather than reading, there is also a video race briefing which has far more detail than what we were going to bore you with now. Key points for New Forest is the venue. So it's a split venue, and there's a fly in here. It's really
I've seen
pretty.
it. I've seen it.
I'm glad you mentioned it.
Yeah.
There it is. So
Let's
so let's get the right. So right, venue. We've got Moyles Court School. That is where registration is, finishes, transition is, car parking. So that's the main venue, and then the lake is about a kilometre, maybe 1.2k away, and that's where obviously the swim is and the start is. So park at Moyles Court School, and then you go to the lake. Timings: you can register on Saturday afternoon from 4 till 6, or you can register at 5:30 in the morning.
That's an early start.
Everyone say, yeah, registration is 5:30 on Sunday morning. We will shut registration at 6:30. Don't be late, because if you're late, you're unlikely you're going to be able to race. Then transition opens at 5:30. So if you need to register, go straight to transition, and that will close at 6:40. And the race starts at 7. Now we close transition at 6:40 because you've got to get yourself to the start line. Leave yourself a good 15 minutes to walk to the start line. It is like herding cats, and the triathletes are well known for faffing in transition. So we'll be reminding you nicely to hurry up and get to the lake. There will be toilets at Moyles Court School and extra toilets at the lake should you need that last minute nerve going, and you can't wait till you get in the water to put your heating on your wetsuit.
Depends on 1 or 2, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, oh my gosh. Don't be doing number 2s in the wetsuits, because I'll be picking all the wetsuits up.
Whoa.
Nice little link in there.
Yeah.
So like I've said, it's a 1.2-ish kilometre run to transition from the lake. So when you go to the lake, make sure you've got your hat, your goggles, your wetsuits and trainers, because you'll be running there, and I wouldn't want to do that run barefoot.
And also make sure it's a second pair of trainers, not your main.
Would you go with second? I've only got 1 pair of trainers.
But the problem is, if you come running out the lake, those shoes are going to get absolutely soaked.
Yeah, but I'm going to be ages on the bike course. By the time I come in, they would have been dry.
Some sun.
I would recommend 2 pairs running shoes.
If you're slow like me and I've only got 1 pair, then
it's not the end of the world.
It's not the end of the world. But yes, if you've got 2.
It just makes them easier getting on, just in case they're not dry, because you have a second pair with tongue powder.
Yeah. Because also, if it's a wet pair of shoes you're putting on at that late stage, you're just opening yourself up for blisters and nasty
foot care and stuff like that.
Listen to them, not me. So you'll go to the lake with everything that you need for swimming and your trainers, and there is like a pre-trainer transition area, and that's where I'll do the race briefing. So even if you have read the briefing or watched it, you still have to attend that race briefing, because things might change. Roadworks might suddenly pop up, or I don't know, all sorts can change. So it's worth, you have to be there, and that will be at 10 to 7. So you have to be ready to go at 10 to 7. At 7 o'clock, we will get you all in the water through the little slipway, in and out at the same place. The standard Olympic distance will go off to the left, and they'll be facing up the lake, and the sprint novice will be going right across the lake. And it's a mass start, and you will go off. The sprint will probably be a couple minutes after the standard. So you do your swim, usual things that happens. If you get cramp or whatever, you don't like it, give us a wave, send the kayaker over. The standard lot got 40 minutes to do their swimming, so you'll get out the same way you came in. Take your wetsuit off, hat and goggles in the bag. Some people will want to run into transition in their wetsuit. By the time you get to Moyles Court School, your wetsuit would have literally dried and stuck to you like glue. So we will give you a bag, and I really recommend putting your wetsuit, hat and goggles in that bag. And leave it there. There's no need to run it back to transition. We will collect all of those bags, and we will have them at the finish line waiting for you. So you head off, all signpost into transition, and you'll go through the main gate. It's a cattle grid that will be boarded over. Transition is always hectic. Lots of people coming and going. So have your wits about you. Make sure you've walked through transition before you know, you go off to race, you know where you're going, and you don't think, oh, which way's out, which way's in, which way's up, which way's down. Gives us a giggle. So I'm like, no, it's that way. And then you head out to the bike course. So what should they look for on this wonderful bike route?
Beautiful scenery.
The scenery, if you
Yeah.
can take in.
Ponies.
New Forest bingo.
Ponies,
New Forest
donkeys.
bingo.
New Forest bingo. So
good.
cows, donkeys, pigs, deer, ponies, frogs. We had a frog, didn't we? I saw a frog.
Squirrels.
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 And I don't know if you've seen Stu Hayes, who is an ex-Olympian triathlete. He got knocked off his bike by a deer.
I've been cycling along in the New
Really
Forest and had a deer jump across the road.
Yeah.
Leapt 2 lanes.
Yeah. So go really careful, please. Highway code at all times.
Yep.
Yeah.
Means cycling on the left. There is a right turn, don't cut corners, but everything like that is covered in the race brief. So do listen and do read it. Come back in, transition again will be just as crazy, and then you'll head out onto the run, which is a mixture of off-road and road. It's not flat, but it is stunning.
Provides a bit of excitement.
Yeah.
A little bit of excitement.
Yeah.
Change the underfoot conditions and send up and down.
Yeah.
Some little lumps. Makes
So-
it exciting.
And then you'll come back in and you'll finish down the finish chute with your t-shirt and your medal and your water and your huge finish line. Results will be on the website. Prize giving will be when the last person finishes. So I forgot to mention the duathlon, but the duathletes know what they're doing anyway, so that's good. Yeah, there's duathlon.
No, I mean, they know.
They
do
know already.
They do
Okay.
know. They do. They just run instead of swim.
Where are they running from?
Oh,
What's
so
cool.
cool.
Oh, cool.
So they've got a single transition.
No, they do run by run.
Well, no, but there's
Single.
the same.
Oh yeah,
Rather
single
than
venue.
split,
Yeah,
yeah.
sorry. Yeah. But it's all covered in the race briefing that everybody has.
Nice.
So I don't want
Very
to give
nice.
everything away because they won't listen to me later. Yeah, a couple of questions we had was, shall I leave my wetsuit at the lake or shall I take it back with me? No, once you've swam, leave it there in your bag. We will definitely take it for you. Another question we had, where can the spectators watch? So they can come down to the lake and watch you swim at the lake and then get trainers on and run back. They can go to different points on the course if they want to go out on the bike course, but if they're going to drive there, please don't park on the verges because the Forestry Commission and the landowners don't really like people parking on the verges, and it creates a bit of a danger as well if you're blocking the road. And then you can go and watch the run route. A great, nice bit to watch is the ford just outside Moores Court School, and obviously the finish line. And those are really the main questions we had. So if you've got any other questions, put them in the comments and I will answer them.
What about swim lake temperatures?
Oh, good question. Yeah, it was
Freezing.
last week. No, it's not freezing. It's 16 degrees. It was 16 at Ellingham.
Was it? That's
That's
toasty, isn't it?
lush. So technically it's wetsuit optional, but we will say wear your wetsuit. 1, you swim faster in it. 2, it's safer for you, and 3, triathlon's a pretty long way, so you don't want to get too cold and then get whipped out by the boat because you've got hypothermia. So
Comfortable as possible.
yeah, definitely wetsuits. We've had questions about socks as well, so I'm glad you mentioned water temperature. You can wear booties if you want to. Gloves, if you've got a doctor's note to say that you have to wear gloves, then yes, that's fine. But if you don't have a medical need for gloves, I personally wouldn't recommend them because you can't feel the water. You've got to have that good feel for the water, and it's not really cold. But yeah, and they swim lake temperature. Brilliant. That's it. So, shall we talk about my awful open water swimming compared to pool swimming and why I'm so bad at open water?
Let's do that.
Yeah.
Why?
Why do you
Well,
think?
Because I can't pull.
Can't pull.
Can't pull.
Tom has that problem.
Yeah, you're right.
So I did notice that, especially when I've been in the water this season, that I don't kick my legs when I'm swimming, and that's because I'm wearing a wetsuit.
Yeah.
And that has a real disadvantage to me. So what should I do to fix it?
Yeah. I mean, it's not uncommon for people to put a wetsuit on and stop kicking. It's almost like a natural reaction because your feet are so high. So most people kick, especially novice swimmers, they kick to keep their feet up on the surface of the water. And when a wetsuit's doing that automatically, suddenly they just stop kicking and they just rely on their arms. And it's not a bad thing because actually your body's already in that sort of efficient position. But what you tend to notice is it's similar to when people put pool buoy between their legs and the pool buoy's lifting their feet up. They don't tend to rotate as much in the water. Whereas if you watch someone swim front crawl, we're all taught this from, when we very early on, we need to rotate efficiently to make sure that we're giving the shoulder freedom of movement, we're able to turn our head to breathe, you're actually quicker corkscrewing through the water.
Rather than
yeah. Whereas actually, you put a ball between someone's legs or you put a wetsuit on them, they tend to stay completely pan flat. Puts a lot more strain on the shoulder, obviously. So if you tend to find your shoulders ache a lot more, it might not necessarily be because of the wetsuit material adding restriction. It could just be that you're having to force yourself to do a bigger movement because you're not actually rotating the water. So all these things we can actually practice in the pool, make sure we're getting more effective at it in the pool, so that when we do transition to open water, it's not such a big shock to us. So the thing, we've got a few little toys down here. We've got Kelly's toy box. I think the first thing is using a pool buoy, but not just sticking it between your legs and then trying to swim normally, however that is to you, but try and make sure that you actually rotate whilst using the pool buoy is one of the biggest things. So again, like I said earlier on, people will tend to put that between their legs and the pool buoy will stay at that angle the whole way through that swim. We actually want to see that pool buoy starting to rotate a little bit. The problem you'll probably find once you start doing that is that because you can't really kick your feet effectively, you end up with this kind of like weird little flutter as you're doing that movement, which tends to make us less efficient, or we still carry on kicking even with a pool buoy in there. Yeah. So what you can do if that's a problem, and I wouldn't say this for any novice swimmers, this is more for your improved and advanced swimmers. We've got an inner tube. You don't have to use an inner tube. It's just something that's cheap and convenient to use, but you can cut one of these up and attach it around your ankles. The tighter it is, the harder that drill will become, but once your ankles are tied together, it takes the kick out of it completely, and then you are fully reliant on your core holding your body upright, your ass trying to keep your back up on the surface of the water, and obviously then we're trying to force that rotation as well whilst taking our legs out of the equation. So that's a really, really good one to use. And then once you've got those two kind of nailed, we've also got paddles.
So this is all about building up your strength. Once you've got that technique, you want to build up your strength and work on your catch position. And paddles allow you to basically increase the surface area of your hand, so that then you can drive more force, build up the musculature in your shoulder, and then whilst using the pool buoy and also band, you can then work on the strength work on various sets using the increased surface area that paddles give you.
Mm-hmm. So definitely start with those three. They don't have to be as big as these. These are quite big. If you look at the size of my hand in comparison to that, you can buy smaller ones. I would also recommend you not using a wrist strap as well. So try and make sure that it's just your hand that's attached, or just your fingers that are attached to it, just because it just makes sure that your hand entry is more effective. So obviously if you don't have anything attached to the wrist and you enter your hand wrong, the likeliness of that skewing off is a lot higher. So I would just make sure that it's just attached around your fingers, nothing around the wrists, and start with smaller ones. You don't need massive ones to begin with. Once you're stronger and more stable, you can go for bigger ones.
Build it in stages.
Put up in stages. So yeah, definitely as a set, bringing in those three things is a great thing to start thinking about. We can also have a little chat about your stroke cadence as well, so how quickly your arm turnover is as well. Normally we're in the pool, we're taught about having nice long glide at the front of the stroke, and we're sort of drifting along, which is all lovely in the pool, but completely different when it comes to open water, especially mass starts, and especially when we're in the sea as well, where the variables are a lot more changeable. So if you're swimming along and you've got this perfectly lovely glide and someone cuts you up, what are you going to do about that? If you're swimming along with this lovely glide and there's these huge waves coming crashing over your head, how are you going to react to that? So what I would generally recommend is that we start trying to practice a slightly shorter, snappier swim stroke when we're doing open water specific sessions. I'm not saying change everything. You almost want to have a plan B, if you like, in the back of your mind. So, in this swim session, I'm going to do my warm up, which is my lovely, nice, long gliding kind of session. And then I'm going to swim 100 meters as an open water specific set. So within that section, I'm going to make my stroke that little bit shorter, that little bit snappier. I'm going to try and get my arm turnover a little bit higher. And that could be your open water specific 100 meters, for example.
Sorry, that's my phone I've left on.
Yeah, what's the punishment for that? Press up, isn't it?
No, I heard it was snacks.
Snacks.
Healthy snacks.
Who brought the snacks
Snacks.
today,
Healthy
anyway?
snacks.
We ain't got no baby cucumber.
Baby cucumbers is what we want.
I think I might have them in the fridge. Oh no, they were moldy. Anyway.
But going back to changing up the track, make sure that you can feel the difference. So don't get caught from one to the other. Make sure it's a very definitive line from having a smooth glide to then right, now I'm changing over, so that you don't get a crossover and mix between the two. Make sure that you keep it separate and you target specific sessions for each different swim, so that it's clear in your mind what you're trying to achieve.
Perfect.
I was going to say, right, give us a session then. What shall I do?
What kind of session? So I would probably do something like pull paddle band for me as an endurance type set. So this is going to be like strength work. So that was in your legs, that over your hands, and then a band between your ankles.
You can buy swim bands, by the way, but I'm just a cheapskate.
Yep.
Make my own. Or actually, the truth is, where is my band?
Where is your band?
You have my band.
Why did I have your band?
Because I didn't want my band.
Somebody wasn't using it.
No, I wasn't using it, and now I'm thinking, oh, maybe I should have.
Yeah, so I would do a set like that. So have pull paddle and band on. Band is optional. Like I say, I only recommend that really for that sort of intermediate and advanced swimmers. And I do a slightly longer set like that. So maybe anywhere between sort of 150 meters to 300 meters. And within that set, we're just thinking about conditioning. We're thinking about rotation through the stroke as well. So we're trying to really make sure that the whole body is rotating. Then take all the kit off and then do 100 meters hard. And then within that set, we're then trying to think about arm turnover. So we're getting those arms turning over as quickly as we can. Still thinking about good technique as well. I'm not saying just chuck your technique out the window and just splash through the water. It has to be good quality. And I'd maybe do sort of 2 or 3 of those and then repeat that whole set again. So then go back, put all the kit on, do another sort of steady aerobic effort there, 150 meters to 300 meters, and then take all the kit off and then go back through that. And we can repeat that as many times as you like. Really.
Nice one, didn't we? It was 3 200s palm paddles and then 450s. Yeah, nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Times 3.
Times 3. If you really want to get fancy, what you can then do is then take the kick off the wall out of the equation as well. So you're just doing a dead water start.
And then you're doing some
specific. Yeah. You can then even get even more specific if you're coming up to race day and just say, I'm going to do, 10 meters, 20 meters as hard as I can, recovering that last, 5, 10 meters, whatever's left of the pool. Turn without touching the wall and do exactly the same again, do another deep water start.
And I've also seen if you can develop it even further, depending on facilities, of course, but swim next to each other. So you're swimming side by side, so you're learning about if you're getting knocked and all that sort of stuff, but you can still do that. It depends on the facilities that you've got, but it helps if you're 2 abreast and then you're swimming quite close to each other, so you get used to that feeling of being knocked and bumped in the swim.
Absolutely.
And you can
or just come down the lake.
Exactly.
You do. Yeah.
Right, awesome. So hopefully, those that are doing New Forest Triathlon have got a little bit more of an idea of what to expect. And we've given you some nice tips to help convert your pool swimming into open water swimming, what training to do in the pool to make your open water swimming even better than what it already is. What are you up to next week?
Next week?
Well, next 2 weeks, isn't it? We do this every other week.
Next 2 weeks, building, running, getting a lot of cycling in. And then I'll be down.
It's bank holiday, isn't it?
Yeah, it's bank holiday. So.
Oh, what are you doing tomorrow?
Tomorrow, we're going down to Swanage to do some coaching.
Yeah.
Are we? Is that tomorrow?
That's tomorrow.
It's tomorrow. I'm not.
Kelly hasn't told us about this.
So tomorrow, these 2 and Jenny are down in Swanage doing an open water swim workshop with those that have entered Swanage or those that want to have a bit more confidence in the sea.
Work on the swimming in the sea.
So we're going to be not playing with toys in the water, but we're doing a little bit of practice.
You have got a toy for the water. You've got 2 toys for the water.
We have got 2 toys.
Yeah, but we're not going to release them yet.
Yeah.
No, they have got toys.
Yeah.
But no, so we'll be getting in the water, talking about acclimatisation, so we're going into the sea, which will be a lot chillier than Ellingham. So make sure everyone's really happy with acclimatisation. We'll go through our recommended acclimatisation routine. We will then go through a bit of sighting work as well. So obviously in the sea, once you've got waves in the equation, just putting your head up and doing your crocodile eyes doesn't cut it, I'm afraid. So you need to start thinking about actually how am I going to start over that wave and actually timing your stroke with the waves. We'll also probably do a bit on breathing as well. So most people that come on our courses tend to just breathe to one side. Again, it's a great thing to do, breathing on one side, but if a wave comes on your breathing side, you're going to be taking in a whole lot of water every time you take that breath. So we'll do a little bit of breathing work as well.
The last sea swim travel I did, when I was running into Transition, there was so many burps going on. It was like, one day, it was
my friend.
My friend.
My mate.
We'll do some starts.
We'll do some starts. We'll do some little Aussie exit games as well if we have time.
Oh yeah, because in the Swanage long swim and the Bournemouth long swim, if you want to enter that, there is an Aussie exit every lap.
And what's an Aussie exit?
an Aussie exit is basically we're doing laps, but you have to physically get out of the water, and we have a little channel that you run round. You can pick up a drink, and we get to cheer you on. Makes it more fun for us. Breaks it down for you guys as well. So
yeah, it's quite nice. But
I'm looking forward to it.
That your heart rate might be at, let's say, 130 coming out of the water. The minute you start that 100-meter run, that heart rate goes from 130 to 150 almost instantly, and you get back in the water with a higher heart rate. It's about how do you relax and get back to your swim stroke again rather than panic. And then
it's good fun.
It's good fun.
I like the diving bit more. Cool. Right.
Yep.
Nice.
Looking forward to it tomorrow. See you bright and early.
Yeah.
What are you doing this week? Next 2 weeks?
Next 2 weeks. Well, I'm at Swanage. Did I tell you about Swanage?
Oh yeah. What's that?
Deja vu. And then what am I doing? We've got a social run on Sunday, and then the following weekend. Are we in June yet?
Oh, it's a triathlon, yeah.
Yeah, it's June Forest.
New Forest Triathlon.
And then it's the British Champs Meet the week after that.
15th.
Is that Nottingham?
That's Liverpool. Not Liverpool. Leeds.
Leeds first, then Nottingham.
Yeah. So I've got the Olympic distance, British Champs, and then followed by the Sprint Champs. So I've got an exciting June.
Yeah, very exciting June. Well, I'm off on holiday tomorrow.
Boring.
Yeah.
I'm on dog duties on Tuesday.
Yeah, you're on dog duty Tuesday. Hang on, let's just.
No one's seen Buddy yet.
No
They've
one's
seen him skirt out the room.
He doesn't.
Hang on.
He doesn't seem that impressed.
No one
He's not cooperating, Buddy. Come on.
He is not happy. He does not want to get up.
You've just woken him up.
Come here. Here he is.
He looks so happy about it as well, doesn't he? We've literally just woken him up, poor lad.
This is Buddy. This is the Challenging.Events dog. And he also is at the lake. But anyway, he's Anna's friend on Tuesday.
Yes.
And then I think I'll just be last minute jobbing for the old triathlon on the 2nd June. Can't wait. So excited.
Yeah, busy 2 weeks coming up.
Busy 2 weeks.
Busy 2 weeks.
So yeah. Cheers guys.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye. Buddy, go back to sleep.
Where's the button to press?